Hello, everyone. Hope everybody's doing good. In our last session, we discussed and I had explained you and shared my opinions about international management theories, uh, including mercantilism, then the competitive advantages, comparative advantages, political and cultural platforms. In this session, I will be sharing my opinions on modes of entering international business, which will be the first topic of the unit 2. Let's start with this. In modes of entry to international management or international markets, you will have five modes classified into five, but there are subtracted into many other modes. But these are the headlines you will understand under direct exporting, licensing and franchising, joint ventures and strategic acquisitions, and FDI, which is abbreviated as foreign direct investment, under which you will have indirect FDI and other modes. So, internationally or universally, these modes are recognized. When you're speaking, people will understand, and you can share the wavelength. So, it is important to start with these headlines or points. When we say direct exporting, it is nothing but you have your own products and services as a company or an organization, and you have decided to go to different nation or a country and sell your products or market your products. What you do is, we have discussed, and let me again rephrase or recap on this. First thing is we have to first decide what to sell, and where to sell. What to sell is you have to decide what products and services that you have to go with to a different destination. So imagine you are into a Nestle. Imagine you're a Nestle. Nestle is famous across other developed countries, which is into food and beverages. So you have decided. Imagine you're decided to go to some Asian countries. And let me tell you, and I wanted to, even in the last few videos, I wanted to uh, share this with you. When you want to go to a different destination to sell your products and services, it is understood that you have to go to a developing country. It is just, most of the MNCs, their agenda or the objective is to go to a developing country. Reason being is, in a developing country, you will find natural resources that can be available manpower, which is universally approachable. They must be learning the universal languages, and they are open to the products and services, especially the education provided by the MNC companies. So this culture is already created a platform for you to go there and help them. So it is very easy. So you do not go to a poor country which is not even, culturally developed, have an idea that we have to buy and we have to promote ourselves. So even the government would not have idea, though they have ideas, but the platform is not created, people are not educated, there are a lot of difficulties. So as an international company, you would not take these risks. So it is must and should that you enter into a developing country. You first have to list out the developing countries. Then you have to understand how easy it is for you to transport the products, find the resources there that can be starting with the transportation. I mean, then you will have to think about the manpower that is available and the skill is available, and how cheaper how expensive the manpower in terms of giving them salaries, hiring them. So how much it is compared to your country, and what is the price tag that you're putting for how much you're selling it. If you're selling it for $10 in US and you've decided to go to India, China, or any other country, so you have to have an idea that how much you're selling it for. $5, and what is the price that people are ready to pay for you, and who are the competitors there, and what are the advantages being a local company, or a local company, or a domestic company, which can compete with you, and people are adjusted to it. They have the cultural background, they believe that this is our own company, the patriotism comes with this, and the governments at the end of the day have to help them, the political, the socio cultural advantages that company has, all these things. So we will have to study all this. Once it is done, you have studied that what product to sell, which country to go, and how to sell, and for what uh, price you have to sell. These things are very important. Then comes these mode of exporting. So that's these are the points that we have discussed, or I have shared my opinions. So please keep that in mind. That doesn't mean that we've moved away from these and we have studied that and let's only do it. So everything is interlinked. You have to imagine, and these are subsequent, topics or the lessons that we are moving on learning. We have to keep reminding ourselves that this is how it started and where we are. This is the level 2. So we are discussing, we have decided as a company to move to different countries internationally, sell our products. Now we are trying to learn and trying to figure out what are the modes, how to enter into it. So first one is direct exporting, in which we have direct exporting. We have You have decided you have products, which products you have to sell. Then you move your products and services to different country. In this, the advantages are, you have a complete control on your product or market, and the manpower, or the organizational personnel there. So you have your own staff, so you have your own control on this, because everything belongs to you. You call the shots, you run the show. While doing this, advantages as I've told you, you decide what the price tag to be put, and how to enter the market, how to compete with the marketplace already existing. That can be mostly domestic players. So they definitely have a political advantages, as we discussed earlier. Now you have to hire a, FDI, or a company registrar who knows the host country's political and bureaucratical documentation, how this company runs, what is the history of FDI in this country, who are the other players who entered this market, and how they are doing, status of which. These things definitely implement advanced sort of ideas to you, so you can move on with those. While doing this, one thing you have to remember is what product you're selling, what is the life cycle of it. And FDI, first thing The governments will have restrictions on how much you can invest or how much market you can acquire. These are the random regulations that may bring in. So be careful with this, then move on. So this is one part, direct exporting your products and services. The advantages, as I've told you, you will have full control over it whenever you want to, you know, whenever you want to structure, restructure, create, or revise sales, marketing, everything will be reported to you, and this is your own team. The disadvantages of the direct exporting can be the cultural clashes, especially from your team over there. If at all you're sending your team from your own country to the host country, you from a English speaking developed country or a French speaking uh, British colonial company, you going there and talking to Indian or a Chinese people, they mostly speak with their own languages. This is There is a communication barrier. Though you know the local languages, you hired a manager who can communicate these things to give it to you, but again there is a barrier. You're not directly talking to the end user. You never know how good or how accurately your manager or the team which is talking to or communicating with the end users or distributors or the retail people, how good the information is for passing to you, how accurate it is. You never know. It'll take time. By the time your competitors may take advantage of it. So definitely a domestic player will know about it. I'll tell you how we can take again Flipkart and Amazon as e-commerce players. Flipkart was in India since uh, 1.5 decades. They started in 2006-7 as a bookstore company in Bangalore, before anybody has started here. Though they have learned from Amazon and other e-commerce players in developed countries, but they had their own culture to start. They had their own creative ways to reach out to people. By then, the internet wasn't that seamless. Only cities like Bangalore or uh, urban areas people were used to do this, but even they were not ready to buy things online. This hasn't happened before. I'm talking about 15, 14 years ago. So, as a domestic player, started as a maiden maiden e-commerce company. Flipkart learned many things, which any company coming from outside would take a longer time, and that is a risky job. So the road is very jinxy. I mean, it will take a lot of time for them, and it is difficult. Dude. You never know whether you'll be succeed in it or not. So Flipkart has moved and they've learned many things. When Amazon entered after 5 6 years, 2012, 13, 14, they started very little. So Amazon came in, but nobody knew right from they were a bigger company and they had huge investments. They were ready to pay anything and everything to the governments or political everything they studied, but they want to get in because the data, as I've told you in my earlier video, the Flipkart's whole data used to be on Amazon servers, AWS. So they knew the traffic was coming in, the people used to engage in this website, how drastically the things are changing, and they completely understood. Then the R&D team told to the uh, Amazon team, must be Jeff Bezos must have the CEO, the founder director of it, of the Amazon, must have sat on this for years together, I guess. Because that's why I've told you before. If you're entering into the new market, you have to enter into a developing country. India and China are the best companies for anybody in the world to enter with the new product or service. Reason being is China and India share mostly a 3 billion plus population. Just imagine this. If at all you have funds to reach out to these people, you have 3 billion people between just two countries. China, it is difficult because there many players are tough, and the government and political uh, scenario would not help to any company. Though they though they give free hand and they accept and they welcome any FDI under the sun. China is the only company which accepts FDI from any company. They do not have a complicated regulations. The rules and regulations are very easy, sort of a free trade for them. If at all you're entering into China, India has been learning it. You must have studied in the textbooks which were written back in 2005, 6, 10 years back. They did not know how advanced countries, but still, those books analyze India as still not developing country, but close to it. You never know, but scenarios, to be honest, are pretty good in India. So most of the business leaders, United Nations, they calling it India can be a leader, a competitor to China in Asia. So this way, you have to have a case studies. You have to study the companies who are currently what doing at the present situation. You have to study this. You will get mother. That does mean that you stop referring to your textbooks. That remains the same. But your examples are the ground reality to check. You have to study the market, contemporary market situation. So you will get an idea, and it will be easy for you to gain knowledge. So this is direct exporting. So there in the advantages I have told you that you will have a control over it. That is one thing. And disadvantages, as I've told you, these are the things. Since this is an FDI, imagine you have come across all these disadvantages and win over it, and you're still doing good. At that time, governments can have, or the regulations can have eye on you and tell you, boss, stop doing it. You cannot do this, you cannot do that randomly. Business business people have experienced it. I have no, I mean, I've been worked for more than 40 plus products, universal products. We used to market US, UK, French, right from insurance companies to financial companies. They wanted to sell their ideas, services, and products over here. So we know that, I mean, the managers, the CEOs used to have conversations with the teams over here because of the policies made overnight, trying to object these players because they are overtaking, they are taking the advantage of the market because they are superior and sophisticated products and services compared to the domestic players. So this happens. So we should be very careful in this. Yeah, that's about direct exporting and advantages and disadvantages. Now let's move to licensing and franchising. This is another mode where, as an MNC, you can come and invest in a company. Even if you're not an MNC, you have decided to come to a different country. So it's another way, licensing and franchising. Like direct exporting, this is not time consuming. In direct exporting, you have to set up your own teams. You have to set up your a company sites. It will take time if at all you want to construct. Otherwise, too, it is time consuming. But licensing and franchising is very fast. It happens quicker than the direct exporting or any other mode of entering into the international market. Licensing and franchising, you must have seen franchising. The moment we hear franchising, we remember McDonald's, KFC. These are the food products companies which have gone across the world. Not only to developing countries, these people have moved to even underdeveloped countries. But market size is very low, and their sales volumes are pretty low compared to Asian developing countries to underdeveloped African countries. You must have seen KFC, McDonald's. You don't get to see the stocks have gone up and they're disrupting the market. No, you do not hear this. Reason being is, again, let me remind you, developing countries will give you the platform to create your own stuff and disrupt the market. So people are ready. I mean, the audience is ready for you. At the same time, in a developing country like India, say the political domains are getting ready. Even the people are in the same wavelength, thinking that let the advanced companies with the technology come to us, then we improve along with them. This is the mindset they will have generally. So this is an advantage. So through licensing and franchising, McDonald, all they need is find somebody as a franchisee who can utilize your brand name, the logo, and the advertisement, universal advertisements. Imagine any one of us decided to start a business, and what business we want to do in a food and beverages company or this domain is this sector. We think everybody go to malls and everybody go to these luxury places. They buy a McDonald's. When I say McDonald's, everybody would know it, right from a village guy to a layman. Everybody knows what is McDonald or KFC or any Nestle company's products. So this way, all you need is uh, go through the process of becoming a franchisee to this company. There are the documentation, then they will see your financial status and the the knowledge that you have and who will be leading your franchisee there and why you want to come in. These sort of things. Once that is done, they will give you a sort of franchisee license. And there is a very subtle nuance between licensing and franchising. Every franchising is a licensing, agreed. But not every licensee is a franchisee. Understand? It is just this. I mean, franchisee is you have to go according to the franchisee owner, which is McDonald's. They don't completely sell you this. You have to have only the products that they want to sell you, and the advantages, as I've told you, you can utilize the logo, brand, and the products that they want. Everything is set up scientifically, clinically. You don't need to do anything. But you cannot go out if you find some other products and services that your competitor is selling, which is better than your own product. This way, you don't have a freedom to go out. You have to send this to your franchisor take the permission, then they don't agree because these are universal products. So they don't want to stick to something which is getting sold properly. This happens. We have seen KFC and uh, McDonald's, because KFC has come up in particularly in India. In South India, people eat a lot of spicy food. So they had designed after some time they had decided to go for spicy, and they never had vegetarian uh, products. But in India, people ask for vegetarian food, so they started out with vegetarian sandwiches and other products, which is one thing that you can take it as an example. But it was too difficult for them. They had to send this report, and they study. Then people come from US, UK. Then this takes a lot of time. It is a very uh, long period. But if you're a licensing company, you just take the licensing and sit here. The mostly licensing companies are not that big as the branded one like McDonald, Nestle, or Vodafone. So here you have taken a license, and you are completely sort of a owner, but still the agreements you have to study. You have to have a franchising and a licensing attorney who knows good terms about it, who's practically studied these and practically attended the legal terms. If at all the agreement is breaking even before the agreement term is getting closer, it is very a long process. So you will understand before getting into it. Licensing is also the same, that you can utilize your licensors, the logo and the brand presence, all this. But here you can go out and start your own stuff if at all you want to. If the product or services are having more demand in the market, you can have that liberty here. Yeah, this is about licensing and franchising. Now let's move on to joint ventures. As the term says, it is joint and venture. This is also a fast phased, or it happens very quick. If at all you want to go to a different company, different country, and do a joint venture, all you need is talk to a company which is having one of the which is facing challenges. Mostly, it will be financial challenges, then strategic challenges. They do not have a sophisticated marketing teams to compete with the competitors. So you have a better team from a developed country. So developed country in the sense, I'm not discriminating you from this, you from that. If at all you talk to any MNC, these CEOs and other top management people are studied in Harvard, and this comes from the universities that they studied in, and the network that they share with. If you're from Harvard University, you definitely know bigger people who are popular, who've done many things, universally known names. So this is how this starts from. So you have teams who come there and provide them the advantages. This way joint ventures works. But joint ventures advantages are less as far as this particular situation is concerned, because joint ventures always cultural clashes, and you cannot be your own boss. And this has proven over the years. It is started back in 60s or 70s, but now if you see the MNC culture, and if you figure out from this data, it is less than 5%. The bigger names have come down to the other country international markets and trying to do joint ventures. very big players, very less. It is very compared to the direct export and licensing, franchising, and acquisitions. If you compare that lot, joint ventures to that lot is less than 5%. So just imagine this is like this, but still here and there, one or the other way, any company, every company is into joint ventures, but completely do not depend on it. Reason being is, as I've told you, you cannot run your show. You will always have to sit down with the other company who is with you. Then the board meetings will not uh, conclude in a very fair way. They always fight together. I mean, fight with each other, so they don't come to a conclusion. Let it be anything in terms of the design or in terms of the product study, the market analytics. They don't trust this. This is what we hear, because we've been marketing our products to many MNC companies. The Salesforce, which is again an MNC, then SAP. So these companies, whenever we go and talk to them, they have different the hierarchy, and the manager believes who spoke to us directly. Then above him, he has to take a nod from the US. Then those guys would like try to talk to us through a video conference and sometime over the phone. They don't come to a conclusion. They don't give that importance, because same thing happened to Salesforce at certain stages, at certain times. They follow these joint ventures, terminologies or terms. They are into this. So this hasn't worked well. Joint venture is nothing. You go to any company, any country, you talk to them, you invest certain money and become a partner to them. So in these joint ventures, yeah, now I remember licensing and franchising. See, franchising is, if McDonald's or KFC has given you a franchisee, they share only the royalty and the profits, not the losses. But licensing, again, it is sort of, sometimes they may help you, sometimes they not. It depends on the agreement that you have, in particular the terms that is included in the agreement. So that's why I've told you, you have to have an attorney who's sitting along with you. Generally, we can say that the percentage of is false on this. So positive advantages, disadvantages, we can say this. But particularly if you want example, uh, you have to have an attorney, depending on the company that you want to start, the size of your business, and the size of the money that you're investing, the player that you're the market player that you're competing with. These things matter. But in joint ventures, it is equivalent. According to your share, you have to share whether this is a loss or a profit. If it is a profit, you share that. If it is a loss, you share that too. It is joint ventures. And joint ventures, you don't you not only do a joint venture with the private players, but also government players. And joint ventures are again comes under the commanding marketing or the commanding economy. So most of the times, government commands you. Government tells you how to move on once you invest. So there is a lot of you cannot blame me when in a joint venture, especially with the government. You cannot blame anybody. You cannot pinpoint because of this, because of that, it has happened. So it is like that. Consequences cannot be figured out, especially in losses. Of course, if it is a success, your company has gone uh, earned millions or billions of dollars in profits in the first quarter or second quarter, everybody would claim the credibility. But in loss, you cannot make out. So it is very important to know that joint ventures can happen with the government, can happen with the private players, can happen with the uh, both government owned but privately run companies according to the investments and the shares. This way, that is joint ventures. In joint ventures, I can name in India Aditya Birla, then Vodafone, then Airtel also had some people buying their shares. Recently, Geo has sort of joint venture with Facebook. They say, I mean, on papers, they say to the public, they say, we've sold these shares and, we are independent. Still, we are, running this business together, but still insights will give you, people who have access to the inside stories will give you what exactly it is. Yeah, and these bigger players are very close to politically and government running administrations, so these things can happen anyway. So you should keep that in mind as well. So that's about joint ventures. That's my opinions and experiences that I have read, that I have heard, and I've experienced as well. About strategic acquisitions, these things in a startup world we have heard many times. We have, every now and then we'll be hearing about the news, the newspapers, and startup talks. The people talk about it. It is nothing but this happens mostly in startups. Startups are companies going down the drain. Somebody is not making profits, and who's been a better player, or potential player in the market, who is slightly going down. If at all the company and the CEO, the board members are smart enough, they will go for strategic acquisition mode or this process. That's what happened with Flipkart. Flipkart was, as I've told you, Flipkart was one of the, I mean, the only e-commerce company which was doing good with FDI and Japanese Sikowa's funds. A lot of funds they used to raise, and they were going good. But later, do not know what happened, but the Walmart acquired it, and Walmart acquired it. Is behind the scenes. It is Amazon again. So Amazon is, I should say, in India, it is the monopoly, like Google in India. He can say, you stop this product and you just go by this percentage. This is the discount that you have to give. They are in such a commanding position in India as far as this particular situation is concerned at this moment. So Flipkart asked for acquisitions, and they wanted to sell certain share in the company. That can be operations, that can be administrative, and that can be financial handling, all this. So this is again very quick, faster. You can enter into different market easily. Here, the advantages are, you have all the resources, infrastructure, the name, fame, everything of that company, which is being in domestically famous. So resources in terms of the, what do you say, the manpower, skill, experience, everything this company or this lot has got. All you have to do is infuse or inject some money that they want financially. Inject, if at all you find the better people have quit this company, so they were the smartest people, so the strategy is not happening. So you have to inject some smart people into it, and R&D again. You have to study the why this has happened to this company. So you have to invest money in it, research and development, then the science behind it, then you acquire a proportion of the company, then you move on. In this advantages, the other advantages is you will be entitled to get the discounts or subsidies from the government of that particular I mean country, because you just acquisition, but still this company is technically Indian company, though you own 50% or 60%, because you have invested in rupees. You have taken this company when it is an Indian company. It is not completely a US or a UK company. So this way, there are a lot of. This is very complex, technically. Nobody can say black and white. So the generally, this is what strategic acquisitions you must have heard in. Even Shark Tanks, they say that people go there and I want you to be the strategic partner. That means that you give me your resources, mostly the marketing, the network that they have, and if at all they can put some money into it. So all they need is they have done the R&D, they've understood, they've evaluated the company and the products, and the ideation process has been ended. So people start buying this the product or service. Now you enter as a strategic partner. A strategic acquisition is nothing but becoming a strategic partner in our startup world. I mean, this is how we pronounce. So you can say, you can take it as a strategic partner. That means nothing. You bring strategies. You're good in finding out or figuring out the value proposition of this company. So when the value proposition of your company, your company, your product, or your services is being evaluated, it is approved that you have a value proposition to end user, then all you need to have is study the competitors and get into it. Yeah, that is the strategic acquisition. Then the disadvantages, I may say, as far as I know, they're very less, but still, this is being a domestic company. You're from the other company. You cannot completely own the company. You cannot call the shots again. You cannot take your decisions as if it is your own company. It's not 100% your company. So again, the half of the manpower or the skill team or the company personnel is from the other company, the other country. If you're bringing in, top level management or the top level uh, skill developers, they may not go well, or they may not gel with the local culture of the talent. This may happen. That we study in the papers, that we study in the news every now and then. This is why the general manager has quit from US or quit from Germany. Yeah, that's what has happened. So in respect to that, this story ends here, related to a strategic acquisition. Now move to a foreign direct investment and FDI. In every irrespective of the country, nation, FDI will be there on the business sheet of every day's newspaper or in a business channel. You would see this. Reason being is, it is especially developing countries and underdeveloped countries. The finance ministry of any company, especially this developing and the underdeveloped countries, finance ministry or the administration people will definitely talk about the FDI. Let me give you an example. FDI, currently, the last year it was $1.74 trillion. $1.74 trillion, not billion. That is the inflow globally, the FDI figures. Inflow means globally, I'm saying, not to one country. Just imagine, close to $2 trillion are in the, are inflow or outflow to country, Globally, this is happening, and due to the COVID, it is being told and it is being analyzed that the FDIs globally will be 40% decreased. It is This is how you study global economy. So banks will not have funds to play around, especially banks. And when I say when I want to say banks, I want to tell you we have general thought that if when I say money from banks, ICICI, HSBC, Deutsche Bank, Citibank, American banks, we think that okay, the money is of this American bank. No, the whole money that we talking about, that we play around, that we draw, that we deposit, belongs to the Mastercard and the Visa. These are the two people. This money belongs to them. That's why every debit card or credit card will have this Visa or Master. These are the people who are owners of this money. So what we talking about, what we call ICICI, the Citibank, the American Bank, the Deutsche Bank, these are brokers. They are mediators between us, the end users, and the player who's really owns this money. That is Master and Visa. So from country to country and globally, when it comes to the country's reserve bank of their own country, and this depends. Again, that we have to get into different mode. I wanted to share this and I've told you. So foreign direct investment has got two types of FDI: direct and indirect. Direct FDI, as I've told you, it has got very potential. Even now or back in the days, it is started. So they have their own uh, united. I mean, every nation belong to this, and they have an association. So according to it, the figures that I've told you, it will be in trillions of dollars globally. So every country needs FDI. Reason being is you can you can enhance your economical development, and you can develop the skills of your people. Then it'll increase the tax and revenue of your economy. Then it'll increase the uh, development of your people's attitude. Then you have the increased foreign capital, then increased choice in the marketplace. So which market you want to go, which market you want to go, you have a choice. Apart from this, you will have yeah, definitely you as a nation, you can save a lot of money. Then it will definitely increases employment, education, training, research and development, and yeah, like I told you, the economics. So that is why every developing country or a poor country or underdeveloped country would look for FDIs, including US. They want people. China, why for the past 20 years at 2.5 in the 20 years, why they become a dominant nation or an economy in the world is because of FDI. They have invited and welcomed with the open hands. If you want to invest, you come down. And the best thing is the disciplined government, the organizational skills. If you go to China, you go to small streets or a residential layouts, even in low middle class houses, you will see retired people doing or engaging in certain activities. They will be designing basket, anything and everything. Most of the Indian dolls or toys, or you take anything and everything, it is from China. So they're very disciplined. This comes from only, we have to learn, every country has to learn from this Chinese discipline, and and the way they welcome, the way they treat foreign investments, direct or indirect, they want money. They want everybody to invest in China. Once the money is come, how to tackle, you have to learn from the administrations of the bureaucrats in China. So only many well-known entrepreneurs, when they went to China, they learned. They've written in most of the books. They write about the discipline. They write about the culture. It is in their blood. Every house is on. In every one, you will see the entrepreneur sort of skills. They talk about the leadership. That is why Alibaba is one of the top-notch e-commerce companies in US. All right, so you see this even in India when back in 30, 40 years. Even here we had Hero and Atlas and other few cycle manufacturing companies, bicycle manufacturing companies. They used to export. I mean, US and other developed countries wanted bicycles to be, exported. They were importing. So China used to uh, export tons of. I mean, in those days, I forgot the numbers, but India had more manufacturing companies than China in India, but India could not do it. So one person studied, and it is there in one of the books. It is because China understood the culture of US. India could not. India, you in US, you never see uh, people double riding the bicycle, but India, it is one of the modes of transportation. So they used to manufacture these bicycles with very solid and very weight compared to the US or China's. Chinese understood, and they made bicycles only for them. With these were very lightweight. Even a kid wants to carry it into his house. He could carry it into his house. He could climb up the first floor or second floor. He can keep it up the foldable. So user friendly. So this is how you study the market. Back in now it is Google, and you have communication mechanism very quick and instantly. You can talk to people. You can research. But back in 20, 30 years, China did it. So those they've invested a lot of time and efforts and research and develop scientifically. That is why they are on top of it. I mean, they are dominating everybody. You can't just imagine Alibaba company from China can get into US and become uh, a top player in the e-commerce. So this is how. So FDI is that important. That's critical. That's crucial. Every finance minister, as I've told you, politically it is important, and uh, business mass. I mean, business oriented people, leaders, they want FDI. They want political leaders, bureaucrats to make it seamless for people from foreign countries to invest in their own countries. So India is opened up, and the advantages that India has in terms of FDI are a few more Asian countries, along with few more Asian countries like Thailand and Singapore. All these people, it is the manpower that it has got, and there is untouched resources, natural resources, which can be iron. 10 years ago, it used to send the iron ore, raw iron ore. Now they are not sending. the iron ore, raw materials. They have manufacturing steel and send it and exporting it to other people. So it is happening through FDI. Government did not invest in it. The foreign companies have invested it. So economy is getting built. 2013-14, it used to be 45 billion FDI in India. Now it is double than that, I guess. For the past 20 years, it is more than uh, close to 700 billion dollars that is inflowed. I mean, that has come into India. Just imagine, for the past 20 years, 700 billion dollars. You cannot imagine. So this plays a this plays an essential role, that this plays a bigger role in any country, especially developing nations. So FDI can be direct, like I've explained in the previous talks. FDI can be through government camps or government entities, or through private companies. It is through that. So e-commerce, but in FDI, every government, every nation will have restrictions. So they will tell you how much to invest and where to invest. You cannot invest in every sector of the nation. For example, media and print. You cannot become a company, a news channel, or any other media, company in a different company, but you can get through different companies. India has CNN IBN, but it is CNN 18. It is Reliance owned company. So CNN IBN has invested in it. It runs the CNN, but it's still an Indian company. Uh, NDTV, it is again some UAE and even Pakistan investors are part of it. So that has become a issue here. Again, social and cultural differences. This is where it happens. That's another example. Back in a couple of years ago, one of the founder directors of this company had to go to jail, and now he's on bail. Reason being is, the funds used to come from Pakistan. So he was a Pakistani national, but he's a businessman in UK, US, but still people do not take it. All right. So now NDTA's TRP rate is very low, very low. I mean, those issues will ensure that your company would not grow or cannot be competitive in the market. These are the things we need to understand. Let it be anything. So when it comes to foreign direct investment, government again decides where to invest and where not to invest and how much to invest. So, the disadvantages are like this. If they feel that uh, you're from a different company, that we have not going well politically or in terms of military. So, for example, China and India borders issues has become an almost 50 mobile applications have been blocked, which used to have millions of users. Just imagine, you are a business owner of it. Just because of the political dimension is not good, that political relationship is not good. It used to be pretty good for the past 2 months ago. I mean, now it has happened. I mean, this is the risk that you will have. So now they have decided Chinese companies cannot invest, or can only invest only this much in Indian companies. This happens. This, as I've told you in my last video, this is the right time for people or individuals who are studying or doing a research about international business management or international business laws or marketing, anything related to international business or nature, atmosphere. This is the right time to study. You will have live examples every day. You open up a newspaper or uh, turn on a channel related to business, you will see all this. how interlinked every domain, like we have studied. You can see all these keywords are coming on your news, so you would learn it. Yeah, so this is about advantages and disadvantages of FD. I hope I mean, I gave you my opinions. uh, Apart from this, we have turnkey projects. Well, turnkey projects, you must have heard about contractors or contract projects, contract labor. This is sort of not not exactly, but turnkey projects are like, this happens when your national governments or federal governments or state government councils or bureaucrats or regulating bodies invites contractors, because most of the times turnkey projects or its nature is a seasonal business or a seasonal projects or a seasonal work that they have. And the person or the client or somebody who is giving you this turnkey projects, inviting people to complete this work, they do not have expertise in it, they do not have any experience in it. They have studied and they invite people. That can be any road work, that can be construction work, mostly governments or any private works. This happens. Imagine a manufacturing company wants what do you say, a ERP or a software to be designed and developed for this manufacturing company. You cannot expect a software engineer who's sitting on top level. So what they do is they invite a bunch of people, bunch of organizations. The representatives will go. There will be an auction. There will be a procedure to approach, and they will give you their demands or the requirements, and you take time and you provide your uh, project details and quote the commercials. Once it is done, they will work on. They bring in, that can be in your company or in their own company. So you will have a TAD, the time provided or time agreed between both the parties. Then let it be software or a road construction, it is done. Once it is done, they will give you a key to turn on the project. So it is like they will manufacture or design or complete, then they will give you the key to you so you can turn it on. So that's how it is, the turnkey projects. This I have read in one of the books. No manager told me, but contractors I've heard, this is how it happens. Once you design, you give it to them, and you have no rights on it. I mean, you provide certain guarantee to the products and the life cycle of it. If something goes wrong, again, you will have the agreement, and you will have to repair it, or however you want to claim the AMC, all this. So it is like you own the asset or project or this designed software. You are the owner of it, but somebody has designed and give it to you. So this is turnkey projects. I don't think we may have to we we have to scratch our head or get too deeper into it, unless you particularly getting into it, studying it. Yes, I believe. I mean, everyone is happy about it. If not, give me feedbacks. Uh, I welcome all your feedbacks. If you want it in a different style, I may try. I will try. So I welcome feedbacks, and hope this will give you good information and makes you understand most of it. All right. Thank you very much.